up, everyone? Welcome to the Casually Fit podcast. Thank you for stopping by. It is middle of November. I hope everybody's having a good day. Hopefully, you're gearing up for the holiday season and all that's going well. You know, whether you're cooking Thanksgiving dinner or whether you're attending Thanksgiving dinner, hopefully all those plans are working well. I guess with the whole restrictions, everything's kind of weird. I'm working through the holidays, so I'm not really too sure how it's going out in like the real world as far as the logistics of meeting up with your family, but hopefully everything's going good. But yeah, for me today, it's a good day. I'm feeling good today. Got a good surf session in the other day and got some swell coming in later on this week. So I'm pumped on that to be able to surf because I mainly just work. I just work a lot, and then my free time is I go surfing as much as possible. And that's something that really breaks away how much work I do to where it's manageable. So I'm stoked on that, all right? And hopefully you're stoked as well. gotta bring up the energy. But one thing I wanted to talk about today, the topic of discussion. Well, first, before I get into the topic of discussion today, I did want to mention, some of you, I think for most part, the people who watch the videos on YouTube, the ones I put out on Monday, I think most of you might listen to this podcast as well or watch this podcast. And you might notice that the last couple videos I put out, you don't see my face, right? Well, the reason for that is because I don't like talking in front of a camera. I don't like doing that at all. And sure, it could be something that I should overcome and get over, but I've created almost 500 videos with my face facing the camera, and I still don't like it. So, it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while. And which is to take my face out of the equation. And so that's what I did. And that's what I'm going to do going forward. Other than this podcast, doing the podcast and sitting here, it's not really, for whatever reason, doesn't really matter to me. But writing out a video and then talking to the camera, looking at the lights, it's a little bit, don't like it. So look for that in the future. All right. You're not going to see this face except for the Casually Fit podcast. And this face right now, it's got a little extra scruff on it. I'm going through a phase to see, basically, I'm bald. For most people who's seen me, I'm bald. And so I realized, when I first started losing hair, I was like, I'm going to shave my head because I don't care. And I didn't care. I was like, my hair's going away. I'll just shave my head so it doesn't look all weird, like I'm trying to hold on tight to whatever hair I have left. So I shaved it off. And then once I realized, one thing, I always heard bald people talk before I became bald. They're always like, oh, it's such less maintenance. It's so much easier. That is all BS. That's all garbage. They're lying, all right? You have to shave your head. If you're a bald person, you have to shave your head like every 2 or 3 days. That's not less maintenance. You get a haircut once every 2 weeks or once every month or even once every couple months. So it's not and as far as like doing your hair or whatever, for men, you just shower. All right. If you shower and you use shampoo and conditioner, that's all you got to do. So the less maintenance to being bald, that's all garbage, right? Those people are just clinging on to whatever. But where I'm getting with this, sorry to go off on that little tangent, but one thing I realized is I was shaving my head every couple days. And then, I've been shaving my head for, a couple of years now, I think. And I realized that, okay, what am I doing now? Now I'm shaving my head every couple days to keep my head bald and hair free. So what, and am I now clinging on to having a bald head? And it became this weird thing. I just wanted to make sure that I'm not clinging on to anything, that I'm not like desperately being like, oh, I got to shave my head. It's 2-3 days. My hair's growing in a little bit. So now I just decided just to let everything go and grow out on my face and on my head until I care, And it's been over a week and there's no sign of me caring. So who knows? I think I could probably go a couple months. I'm not going to do that. I've already proved my point, but it is interesting to me, maybe not to you, but it is interesting just to go through this whole process. So, yes, if you're watching the video, I do maybe look a little homely right now, and I apologize. But yes, either way, so that's that. And so yeah, just wanted to cover also. Yeah, you're not going to be seeing my face. You're just going to be um, uh, seeing those videos where hopefully my editing skills improve, and hopefully they're entertaining and engaging. That's the whole goal with this whole thing, is to give people some great information, maybe information you didn't know about before, maybe shed light on a few things, maybe twist a few things around so you can see it in a different way. That's my whole goal with all of this. And so hopefully that's working. Hopefully you like it, and I appreciate everybody who watches. Now, today's topic on this podcast, the Casually Fit podcast, is as most of you know, if you listen, I live here in San Diego, right? And San Diego just got taken down into the purple tier, which is just restricting a whole bunch of different things. And I'm not going to get political at all with this. Just stating what's going on, right? So San Diego is in a restrictive tier. And for me, I work all the time. Okay. I work literally all the time. And so, and I don't go and eat out. My life is a lot of work. And so for the restrictions on most things that I do, my work's not affected from it. I don't really go and eat out. So I'm not too affected by it, except when it comes to the gym. This is a problem, right? And this is a first world problem, all right? I understand this, and we should all understand this. If you're sitting there, complaining about the gym a lot, you think your life's over, this is a first world problem, okay? So take it down a couple notches. It is annoying, but it's not that serious. But I am a little annoyed at it. Just because of, well, there's several reasons. But now we're in this purple tier. And so first I want to let you know the topic. The topic is just talking about how you can still lose weight, how you can still be fit, how you can still gain strength during this restrictive time. Okay. I know there's other parts of the country where everything's open. It's all kind of weird. Some places are open, some places are not open at all. Some places are restricted to a certain amount. Some places, like here in San Diego, now it is, there's only like a handful of gyms that have outdoor gyms. Like they just moved certain things outdoors, which, let me tell you this for a second. And I think I'm getting completely off track, but let me tell you this. I went to one of the gyms yesterday out. I decided, I was like, all right, the gyms within San Diego, they're probably going to be pretty packed because they're always packed, especially since now there's only a handful of them and that they're outdoors and it's a small space. So I was like, let me just go and cruise a little bit east a little bit. So that's what I did. I reserved a spot, which they don't even check the reserved spots. They don't care. It's just a free for all. And so I went to this East County gym, and let me tell you, I worked out in Afghanistan. There were makeshift gyms in Afghanistan, okay? We're talking about a little tiny makeshift gym in the middle of Afghanistan, outside, surrounded by, the Afghani people and some bad people, right? We just basically go out into the middle of nowhere and we just berm up and we just place some stuff there. And now here's where the Marines are, right? And so, I was on a very small base, very far away from any major base, out in the middle of nowhere. And there was a little makeshift gym there. And that gym was 10 times better than the garbage gym I went to in East County. It was sad. Like, it was disgusting. Like, the equipment was, I don't know where they found the equipment. I don't know if they went dumpster diving for it. But they definitely didn't use anywhere near their best equipment. They must have got it for off the free section of Craigslist. I'm not sure where they got it, right? And they didn't even try to give you an assortment of anything. And they didn't really try to make it a manageable gym experience for anybody, really. I mean, it was the smallest place. It had to have been, you know, like less than 1,000. I mean, it's so small. It's such a small space, and they weren't like checking anybody. They're just jamming people, and anybody who shows up, yeah, just go inside this little caged off area. I bet people in prison have a better gym, guaranteed. And so it wasn't a pleasurable experience. Still got a good workout in. And again, I know this is a first world problem, right? But I live in the first world, so I'm gonna complain a little bit. And so that's the whole state of affairs here in San Diego. And I'm going to a different um, place today, which is actually a little bit farther away from me. But I've been there before. I worked out in the outdoor area, and it's great. So I'm gonna go there. But so that's what's going on. So it's a little difficult for people who are trying to lose weight and stay fit, especially when you think about how this year has went. For myself, this year, in the beginning of the year, I came into it relatively strong. For most of you, if you don't know my story, I don't know if you call it a story. Basically, I was at a high fitness level for a long time, most of my life, and then I took several years off in a row, and I took that fitness level and I plummeted it straight to the ground. Actually went below ground with my fitness level, and I'm at the upswing back up. Been doing it for a few years now again. And so in the beginning of the year, for reference, I was just like lifting up like 90, 95-pound dumbbells and running, just I was at a pretty decent fitness level, right? And then this whole Rona thing happened and restrictions. And, again, this is something that we're all dealing with. And so I had to pull myself away from the gym. Obviously, couldn't go to the gym. I don't have weights at my house. I don't have a home gym or anything like that. So I was relegated to just straight body weight exercises and running outside for several months. And basically, my strength went down a whole bunch, like everybody else, I'm sure, who was in a similar situation, most people. But the gym's opened back up, and I got back in there, been doing it for the past couple months, got my strength back up to a reasonable level, not where it was, but almost. And then now they're kind of closed again. So it's a difficult year to be fit and be in shape, It's a pretty difficult year for that, understandably, especially if you don't have any dumbbells, kettlebells, you don't have a home gym. It's difficult, right? And so now that things are getting restricted, I just wanted to talk about, kind of how I'm going to go about this whole thing moving forward, and how if you are struggling to go forward with everything, I mean, now we got the holiday season, so you got to meet up with your family, you got to, eat all these extravagant dinners. It's going to throw off your diet a little bit. You're going to be a little lethargic, a little lazy during this time as well, because it's the holidays. Maybe a little stressed out because you got to go buy some presents, or you got to cook dinner, or whatever it is. So it's just a trying time to, do all of that, and then also be like, hey, I'm going to lose a couple pounds, or be like, hey, I'm still trying to keep a relatively high strength level. Well, and I got to get a drink. And so that's what I want to talk about. So basically, the first thing is you got to look at this. You got to find out, you got to sparse out the good and the bad of the situation, right? So if you're in an area where this is affecting you, and Let's start off with, if you're in a similar situation as I am, is where you can only go work out outside, which I'm sure if you're living in the Midwest, that's probably not happening at all, right? It's like 20 degrees there right now. Um, but if you are in that situation where you can only work out outside, try to go as much as you can. Basically, you pretty much just have to go as much as you can and just deal with the crowd and deal with the lack of equipment, and you have to adapt your workout. You have to make sure you're hitting all the important areas, um as far as the main areas, your chest, arms, legs, your core, and you need to take advantage of the weights. If you typically do some lightweight, high rep workouts while you're in the gym, I would say maybe break up your routine to where you are now going to the gym and only using the weights and only using the heavy weights, because that's really why you're there. You're there to go and use the weights. You're there to use the dumbbells or the kettlebells or the bars, the benches, all those things. So maybe separate your workout to where you're going in there and you're just doing the heavy stuff. And then maybe later on in the day, or maybe you wake up and you do some light stuff at home. You do some body weight exercises, you do some arm exercises, whatever it is, exercises you want to do. Which there's a workout program on my website if you want it. But it's free. Uh, but but maybe that's a better way to do it if you have some restrictions, is to just go in there, go for a short amount of time, just use the heavy stuff, and then you're gonna be able to maintain a relatively good fitness level by doing that. And as far as losing weight, yeah, still go in there, kind of do the same thing. Don't go in there to do crunches. Do crunches at home, right? Don't go in there to do jumping jacks. Do jumping jacks at home, okay? Go in there to use the resistance that they provide, which is weights. Go in there and do the dumbbell presses. Go in there and do the benches, the leg press. Use the squat rack. That's what you should be doing, and you should kind of cobble together your workout to incorporate all these things. And I think splitting up everything now is going to be the best way. So, like for me, again, the name of the YouTube channel, name of my website is Lift, Run, Stretch. I practice what I preach. I love lifting, running, and stretching, and that used to be my entire workout together. I would spend about uh, anywhere under 90 minutes. I never really time it, but it's under 90 minutes, to where I do resistance training with weights, and then I run, and then I stretch. But now, running and stretching don't really make sense to do it at the gym, right? Because I would also use the elliptical, or I'd use the stationary bike or the treadmill, and it made it very easy to just go from lifting weights and then jumping on one of those three things and then running over and stretching for 15 minutes. All in the same spot, get it all done, and then I move on with my life. Obviously, as far as, yesterday, seeing how compact the areas can be and how many people they pack in there, and how difficult it is to be able to actually go to every single workout that you want to go to without having to wait, or without having to just switch it entirely because there's just too many people. It seems like it's better now that you hold on. Lost my train of thought. I need a drink. Started thinking about other things. But yeah, so it seems it's difficult. So it's difficult to do all those three things now. For me, I'm just gonna go in there and I'm just gonna hit up the major areas, lift as much weight as I can, and then I'm going to run later in the day and stretch at night. And that's gonna be my new routine. And it kind of sucks, because everything's kind of broken up. But it's just the way it kind of has to be if I want to stay relatively fit, or if I want to gain strength. I think it's going to be pretty difficult for me to get any progress during this time, but I think I'll for sure maintain where I'm at, which maintaining sometimes is, if that's the best you can do, hey, that's better than losing what you've gained. Um, so that's how I'm going to go forward with it, right? Now, if you're completely restricted, and this is so if I have this gym that I can go to, this is how it's gonna go down. Now, if everything gets restricted to the point to where nothing's open, and some people, I'm not sure, I haven't looked into how it's going throughout the rest of the country as far as how the Midwest is dealing with this, with gyms. I would say it seems like they're probably closed. So if the gyms are closed where you're at and you're trying to just be fit, be healthy, or you're trying to lose weight, guess what? You need to you need to do a lot of repetitions, okay? And it's a bummer. This is what I did in the beginning of the year. It's probably what a lot of people did as well. So you got to do a lot of repetitions. You have to do a lot of sets, and you have to decrease um, your rest time. Okay, so all these body weight exercises that you do, you you can't be. It's not the same as being in the gym to where I'm not a guy who rests in between sets for a long time at all, so I'm not really for that. But especially when you're just dealing with your body weight, you got to make sure that you're really getting after it and you're really pushing yourself to get a good workout in. So that means less rest time in between. And that's pretty much what you got to do to, still lose weight during this time and still maintain somewhat of a fitness level, is to do that. You need to also vary up. I mean, you need to go online, you need to look up all different types of body weight exercises and try most of them out and figure out which ones that you want to work out, and have some sort of circuit in this as well. So I mean, and I have all this on my website. I know I'm kind of just plugging the website, but there are two programs on my website. There's a program for people who haven't been working out, who want to lose weight, who want to get fit. There's a at-home workout program you can do there on my website, and then there's also another one for people who are already fit, and are looking for something that's difficult with just body weight exercises. That is also on the website as well. So check that out if you want. Um, but that's really what it kind of comes down to, is, again, it's relatively simple, right? It's relatively simple. You're If you only have body weight exercises, you only have body weight exercises, right? So you have to up you have to up it quite a bit, because it's just your body weight. It's not that much resistance, and so you need more repetitions. You need a lot more repetitions. You need to be doing like 20, 30 plus repetitions per set, per exercise that you're doing, and you need to do like 4 or 5 sets or more per one of those. So if you're doing push-ups, you should be doing somewhere around like 30 push-ups, 4 or 5 sets of 30 push-ups, something like that, for you to get a good workout in. And so yeah, I think that's just how it's gonna have to go. And it sucks. At the end of this last time before the gyms opened up, I was basically over it. So many repetitions. Ugh, it's a bummer, right? It's not exciting when you're 2-3 months in of doing just hundreds of repetitions per day, just to even at that point, body weight exercises, it's very hard to maintain strength level fitness if you don't have anything heavy to pick up, which I don't really have anything heavy like that. Which now actually I'm gonna get creative, or I'm gonna buy some dumbbells and kettlebells. But if you don't have that, it's very hard to keep your strength up when it's just your body weight. So it's a whole lot of work you're going to be doing to still be a little bit less than when you started. Just kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. Again, first world problems, right? If you're still able to, if you have the luxury of being able to exercise freely, you guess what? That is a first world problem, right? That is a privilege. There are people who are like, "What? You exercise? What do you mean you burn the food you eat off on purpose? Like you don't harbor that food and harbor that energy so you can make it through the day? What are you talking about?" Right? So again, this is a first world problem. Um but but again, we live in this world, and this is just what's going on. And so yeah, that's really the way that you're going to be able to kind of get through this. It's just up the sets, up the repetitions for you, do a bunch of different body weight exercises, look up as many as you can and find which ones you want to do, and then work some sort of work your program out to where you are working out maybe just your arms one day, or maybe your arms and chest one day, and then your back and your maybe triceps another day, or just your legs and your shoulders, or just your legs. Work it around like that to make it. You don't want to make every single day the same workout for sure. So vary it up, like most workout programs do. And again, there's something on my site if you want a reference. But I always say, if you're whether you know what you're doing or whether you don't know what you're doing, I think the best way is to cobble together your own workout program. So take this time and make your own workout program, right? Take advice from me or take advice from personal trainers or things you see online. But you don't have to completely carbon copy everything. You can if you want, and it's good to do it for a short amount of time. But in the end, moving forward, once you've been exercising for a few years, you should have your own kind of workout program. I just think it's a little better because you know your body more than the personal trainer knows your body, especially after a couple years. You know what works, you know what doesn't work, you know what hurts your body, what doesn't hurt your body, you know your injuries, you know what you like, what you don't like. So do that. Now, one thing I did want to say is we got to pull away some positives from this, right? So, well, first off, before I get into the positives, if we're in this restrictive time, the real bad thing is there's no weights. There's no heavy things to pick up, okay? If you're living in the Midwest and you don't want to freeze to death, there's no treadmill for you to get a cardio session in, right? So those are obviously the bad things of not having a gym. The good things about not having the gym is this is from at least what I experienced this year is coming into this year. I was stretching a lot, running a lot, lifting a lot of weight, and I kind of knew I was a little tense. When you're pushing up a bunch of weight, when you're like running, you're just trying to get the miles in, trying to get a a faster time in your mile. There's a lot of tension that's building up in that. Even if you're stretching, even if you're meditating like I was, um, and you can kind of just get in this routine, this momentum of this tension that's just building up and up. And that's something that I kind of realized, but I didn't really know how bad it was until all the weights and the treadmill got taken away from me. And I wasn't in this momentum of being like, all right, even though, I'm really tired right now, I'm sore, everything hurts, even though all this is going on, still got to get in the gym. And then all of a sudden, 10 minutes later, I'm pushing up 90-pound dumbbells. And then, getting in that momentum, um, when that was taken away and I didn't have that, that's when I realized that, oh, there's a lot of tension there. I was building up a lot of tension. And, and so one of the good things is having this time to just do body weight exercises. If you do the body weight exercises and you now incorporate some stretching, a lot of stretching into your routine. And I would suggest doing stretching that is extremely painful, stretching that you would normally push away from and not do and ignore. If you do that during this time, you can relieve yourself from a lot of tension and you can open yourself up to a whole new world almost. And that's basically what happened with me. I had a lot of tension in my lower back. I've had lower back issues forever, but I had a lot of tension in my lower back and I just had a lot of tension all over. And so when these lockdowns first came about, I thought, I was like, okay, this is a great time for me to work on my lower back. This is a great time for me to kind of relax a little bit with the, trying to push up weight and all that. And it's a good time for me to open up my body and work on all of the problem areas, like tension in my hips, like just opening up, being able to open up my legs, move my legs around, bend over, do all these odd things with my body. I thought this is a perfect time to focus on it, and it was. And I focused on all these horrible areas, and for the first couple weeks, even I think the first month, extremely painful. This is more like stretching, what I'm talking about. The stretching was extremely painful, right? But there's no gym, so I got to get my pain somewhere, right? And so I focused on all these areas and everything. I found out that my hips had a lot of tension. My lower back had ridiculous amounts of tension in it. My shoulders had a lot of tension. And by doing these different stretches over time, I opened up all of that, to where when I got back into the gym the second time around, everything felt much better. Everything felt more fluid. My body is not as tense at all anymore. I found the areas that cause tension, and I found what it takes to get rid of the tension by being in lockdown and by having the gym taken away. So that's a good thing that can come from these lockdowns and these restrictions, is you can now be in the comfort of your own home, right? Doing all these horrible stretches to where if somebody's looking at you, they're like, wow, this guy or girl, they can't do anything. They can't reach anything. They have no flexibility. You don't have to worry about that. You're just in your home, and if you can only reach to your kneecap, you can only reach to your kneecap, and you can spend the next couple weeks just trying to reach past your kneecap, and you can keep going and keep going. You can do it all on your own, and again, from the comfort of your own home, and you can really focus on these areas and really open yourself up, and that's a really good benefit. I mean, I feel like it was exactly what was needed for me at that time, is just looking back on it, just seeing the difference of how much tension I had in all these different problem areas, and it caused other problems in lifting it. I realized my form was just a little bit tweaked too much, tweaked in the wrong way, because of a little bit of too much tension sometimes. And so it just helped in a completely different way. And I think that is a great thing from this. And and I'm just looking at this, and I've spent too long talking. All right, this is too long to be listening to me. I know I'm not that entertaining right now. All right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but yeah, this is a Casually Fit podcast. Thank you for coming by. If you want to lose weight, if you want to get some muscle, it's going to be hard to gain strength during this time if you're under all these restrictions. But what you do need to do if you're trying to maintain or lose weight is just up the reps, up the sets, do different, very difficult. You should only find the most difficult body weight exercises to do and just work on doing those. Do a whole bunch of squats and just focus on these areas. Try to stay motivated and incorporate stretching. That is the biggest thing that you can do during this time, is do stretching. Stretching should be one of your main focuses during this time is just look at it like, hey, look, now I don't have weights to focus on. Now I can focus on stretching and flexibility. And and I know for people who don't stretch at all, who never want to stretch, who look at it a certain way, in a negative way, I get it. All right. I used to kind of think that way as well. And it's hard to kind of understand what I'm saying right now, like fully get what I'm saying right now. But just do me a favor, do yourself a favor, and just commit yourself for however long these lockdowns go on. Just be like, you know what? I'm going to stretch every single day. I'm going to put in 5 to 10 minutes every single day. And I guarantee you, a month, 2 months, even a couple weeks, who knows? I don't know how long it's going to take for you, but you will realize how important it is, and you will be forever grateful for stretching and working on your flexibility, because that relieves so much tension, is stretching. And these are tense times, okay? So uh, relieving tension in any way possible is should be something that we're all looking for. But yeah, either way, I've been talking too long. Sorry about just talking about these bitchy and moany first world problems of, oh my God, I can't go to the gym. But whatever, it's the Casually Fit Podcast. Thank you for stopping by. It's episode 12. Thank you for listening. I hope everybody has a good day. I'll see y'all next week.